coming at you live from Boulder's backyard. It's Buffs News Radio Show with your host, Russ. And near is your host, Russ.
What's up, Buff Nation? And welcome into Buffs News Weekly Radio Show Live, our Monday weekly call-in show where you, the fans, get to voice your opinions on everything and anything CU Buffs. And welcome, everyone, to the 2025 college football season. It is officially game week, and we are only a few days away from Colorado's home opener against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. I appreciate you for joining me today and hope that you are having an amazing day as we head into football season, baby. We're back and better than ever. Appreciate you guys so much for joining me. As always, we're going to get into a lot of great things today. Mainly, we are going to be focusing on previewing Georgia Tech and getting your opinions on what you feel about the Georgia Tech game. I'm going to go through some players that you're going to need to pay attention to when the game comes, because we do have the Georgia Tech depth chart. Okay? We get to have the Georgia Tech depth chart. So we're going to go through a couple of the players that you guys need to watch out for and where I think Georgia Tech could be susceptible to a Colorado game plan. That's going to be discussed, as well as talking about your guys' predictions. And of course, I need to talk about this because it's a little bit of a, something that has happened since last week, but the Taco Bell Fan Take of the Week will be selected from your phone calls, and I got some information from our sponsors at Taco Bell. They are going to have some CU t-shirts available, and they will be giving those to me to give out for the Fan Take of the Week. Last week, Buddy won the Fan Take of the Week, so Taco Bell will be sending him his very own CU Taco Bell shirt. And if you want a chance to win your very own CU Taco Bell shirt and have it sent to you, you will want to call in to the Taco Bell fan hotline today, giving your take on the Georgia Tech game. No take is too crazy or spicy when it comes to the Taco Bell Fan Take of the Week. Want to give you guys massive props, by the way. Friday's video, you guys absolutely killed it with the likes. The video has popped off compared to all the videos I've had in about a month. So I appreciate that from all of you for really pushing those likes. So make sure while you are here that, again, we get those likes up, because it does make a difference when it comes to this video and finding more Buffs fans out there to watch it and watch this channel. So I appreciate all of the support. Like I said, it's the easiest way to support this channel for free is simply by leaving that like button. So thank you guys again for joining me on this fantastic Monday. Now let's go ahead and get into it. I want to get into some of my takes really quick before we open up the hotline. So first up, I want to talk about strengths, weaknesses of Georgia Tech. What are the key players that we're going to need to look out for, and what is that going to look like for Colorado? Now, big strengths for Georgia Tech. Their defensive line is going to look pretty good. Two players to keep an eye out are Jordan Vandenberg and then Braden Manley. That's right, Braden Manley, transfer for Georgia Tech. He is going to be somebody to really watch out for when it comes to that edge rush for Georgia Tech. Now, they have a completely new defensive back system, but don't sleep on them. That is still going to be something important to keep an eye on. But Jordan Vandenberg, Braden Manley, those are going to be the two guys on the defense to watch, and that's going to be pay attention to. Now, with a rebuilt secondary, can Colorado take advantage of the passing game on Friday? That's going to be a big question for the new look offense, both the offensive line. Are they going to be able to protect Caden Salter if he is in fact starting? We still don't have confirmation. And can the wide receiver room that we have been touting all offseason live up to the hype for CU fans and show the naysayers out there, who, by the way, are talking a lot of smack when it comes to what Colorado lost and not what they have in this building. That's going to be a big thing to look forward to. On the offensive side of the ball, the big key we're going to look at is the offensive line. Now, they are returning some important players, mainly being Kalen Rutledge. The rest of the line has some iffy spots. The biggest one going to be that left tackle spot. They're starting a redshirt sophomore who'll be starting his first college football game for Georgia Tech in Ethan McEnany. And then their backups, guys, pretty much across the board are freshmen. Okay? The right tackle, the left guard backups are freshmen. If Georgia Tech has any injury issues come Friday night, Colorado could be able to light that up as a result. Okay? Georgia Tech not talking about that depth very much. Depth is important, and we as CU fans know that more than anybody with the last 2 years and what happened to this offensive line. As soon as a player went down, CU was way worse than they would have been with their starters. And it started a chain reaction that affected this team the entire season, both in 2023 and in 2024. So the key is going to be, can we stop the run? Can we force Haynes King to beat us with his arm, allow our pass rushers to get after him and get after that new offensive line, rather than making it easy on them with successful running, with the deceptive and creative playmaking that Georgia Tech will have as far as their play calling goes? If we can stop those two things from being effective in this game, Colorado's going to have a very good chance to come away victorious. Now, unlike maybe some CU fans, but a lot of Georgia Tech fans who think this is just going to be a blowout one way or the other, this is probably going to be a very close football game, which is, again, why I keep harping on the altitude factor. That, for whatever reason, I have plenty of Georgia Tech fans attacking me on, saying, well, we train in Georgia heat, and there's nothing like Georgia heat. Yeah, there's nothing like altitude. There's a reason that the United States Olympic team trains at altitude. There's a reason why the best cross-country and long-distance runners in the country are located in the state of Colorado. That's right. Go look that up. Division II, national champions, repeat, comes from Colorado. Division I, Colorado is one of the top competing cross-country colleges in the country. A lot of that has to do with training at altitude, guys. So what does that mean? Because the one thing I keep hearing from Georgia Tech fans are, altitude, if that played a factor, then why isn't Colorado undefeated at home? Well, you idiots, that's not how that works. What the altitude does is it severely affects teams' abilities to compete in the second half and late into games. And you look at last year's CU team, the amount of times that they made a comeback, either winning the game or just coming up short in the last 2 years, is absolutely tremendous. And in all but one game, Colorado allowed less than 8 points in the second half. Teams sputter when it comes to second half performance. So you need to get a big enough lead that you can then come into the second half and not be required to play fast-paced football. If you can come in with a big lead and just control the ball the second half, then you will see a difference. Okay? But that is a huge key that nobody understands except for people who play in Colorado or live in Colorado, or people who are professional athletes that have played in Colorado. I've talked to so many different professional athletes about the altitude effect, and they say, absolutely. You don't feel it at first, but when that third and fourth quarter hits, those lungs start to really have issues when it comes to breathing and keeping up. No matter how in shape you are, if you are not altitude training, you are not able to perform the way you were at sea level. That's going to be a factor. I will talk about it till my lungs are blue. If Colorado loses, it's not going to be because Georgia Tech came from behind, was down by a lot, and in the second half just came on and put it on CU. That's not what's going to happen, okay? Georgia Tech wins this game by getting out to a lead and controlling the ball early, okay? So that by the time the second half rolls around, they're not as tired. They haven't had to deal with Colorado having long, sustaining offensive drives that keeps the clock going. if Colorado's able to hold that time of possession, either close or hold the ball longer than Georgia Tech in the first half, watch out, because the second half will be a completely different story for Colorado. That is going to be an absolute massive thing that people do not understand. Okay, let's see what you guys have to say. Okay, Gerald, CU seems to have the bigger cornerbacks and receivers, so hopefully that pays off in the end. That's going to be a big part of it. 99 is the only D-line returner, I believe. I believe that is correct, based on my notes here. Okay, we keep Georgia Tech offense under 125 yards rushing, we will win. Their depth on the O-line is suspect. That's what I just talked about. Our D-line size and production scares them. Kai, our size on the offense and defensive side of the ball should scare any team, because this is not the Colorado of the last 2 years. Okay? We are one of the biggest trenches in the entire college football world. Not the biggest, but one of the biggest. If I think I remember last time I looked, we're in the top 10, if not top 20 for that. Georgia Tech is not. They're going a little bit smaller than they have in the past, especially because they're starting a lot of guys who have not started before. Okay, what's good? Appreciate Eric dropping by. This game will be won in the fourth quarter. Last year, we dominated in second halves on defense. This year, I want us dominated from the opening quarter. D-Nice, we do that, we are going to have a very dominant season. Okay, because second half is going to happen again because of all the factors that we talked about. Turnovers will be a major factor in the game. Keith, turnovers are a major factor in any football game. You win the turnover battle, 9 times out of 10, you're winning that football game. Okay? Don't talk about the last 2 years. They're 13 and 12. Motivated, dedicated, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You have two sides of the ball. Defensively, we looked pretty good in the second half for the last 2 years. You still got to score points, and that was a struggle for us at times. Again, I don't get why everybody is just always about this. This is what the record says, blah, blah, blah. You're like every other Georgia Tech fan out there that says, well, CU's not undefeated, so, altitude in second half doesn't matter. Duh! There's a whole game to be played. The fact is that if you set it up, the second half and the altitude can play a major factor in what happens to Colorado. And a lot of those victories in the 13 column came because of that. Okay? Absolutely came because of that. How come we keep losing to Kenya, Ethiopians in the Olympics for long distance races? That's a little bit different. Okay, Julius, we can talk about that a little bit differently. But the fact is, the best runners in America come out of Colorado. Would you start with a hurry up tempo against Georgia Tech? I would try to test their conditioning, fatigue them early. Absolutely. I think that you can absolutely get an edge against Georgia Tech by running a up-tempo offense and running the ball. The key with the up-tempo offense is being able to run the ball, okay? This is something that not a lot of people have talked about the last 2 years when we were running an up-tempo offense. We were pass. Up-tempo is not as up-tempo if you can't get back to the line and get going much quicker, because a deep pass where there's a lot of yardage, it allows the other team time to sub on and off compared to a run play where you're not going to be able to sub on and off. If you can be successful with an up-tempo offense and run the ball, you will absolutely dominate the other team. We've seen it happen. I would like to say that Utah game 2 years ago where they just ran it down our throats, that was what it looked like. That was what it looked like, and that's a key factor that we have not had the last 2 years. So the question is, can Colorado bring that this year? So forget about that 1-12 season, huh? We cannot get down 10 plus. D-Nice, here's the thing. If we got down 10 plus, I still would believe in Colorado versus Georgia Tech coming back from a 10 plus. Look at the USC game 2 years ago. Down by a lot, almost came back and won that game. I get that we didn't finish it off, but it's available there. Baylor last year came from behind to secure that victory. In a miracle fashion, yes, but how much of that was the fact that we're playing at home? We can come on at the end if we absolutely need to. Georgia Tech dual threat versus our dual threat. Let's go, Demistocles. I appreciate you. Hearts are going to be pumping that first drive. Lady C game week countdown. Let's go. Russ, did you see what the Georgia Tech safety said about CU culture and celebrities? D-Nice, every year it's the same thing. When are teams going to learn to stop giving us bulletin board material? I've got Georgia Tech fans saying, oh, it's not a big deal. Stop using this. Guess what? We will use any little bit of motivation we have to add an extra element to a game. That's called football. That's called sports. I swear some fandoms out there are the biggest snowflakes in the world when it comes to how they react to things that CU fans do. I swear. Because some of the stuff I see, I could easily go after. And somebody else said this. They brought it up. I went and saw his videos. I thought about it. But the fact is, I'm not going to bring on a guy like Rec Talk, okay? Because he is just doing trash talk takes to get views and eyes. They aren't smart. They aren't educated. They don't really have an angle to them. They are those type of things because they get attention. And let's be honest, CU gets more attention than any college football team out there. And so content creators like that, especially when they play CU, you want to get attention and want to make your channel big, say stupid things that don't make sense, that make people angry. I'm not going to platform that, okay? I will say I am going to be speaking tonight to a Georgia Tech person and going to be getting their take on the team. And they have actually got some good takes, and they also understand what Colorado actually brings rather than being completely blind. So we're going to get a good take. You guys can see that on Wednesday night during the Buff Blitz with David Talks Buffs. I'll be playing that interview for you guys then. But just be on the lookout for that. We're not gonna platform somebody who's literally their whole shtick. Again, I've watched a lot of his videos just to see. Yeah, that's what he does. He just talks trash for the sake of talking trash. And if that's what he wants to do to get quote unquote attention, go for it. I'm not gonna help that out. That's all. Not gonna help that out. The other guy you have to watch for is Jamal Haynes. TK, I get it. Stamp it that he goes for over 100. If we keep it 100, though, I like our chances. I like our chances. Hold on. Georgia Tech was 7-6 last season. I forgot. Keith, they don't want to talk about that. Because you know what? Some Georgia Tech fans, either that or just trolls on the internet, seem to think that last year's season for Georgia Tech consisted of 2 games, and that was it. Because all I hear is, well, did you watch the Georgia game? Well, did you watch us play Miami? Miami was talking trash all offseason, and look what we did to them. Yeah, well, what happened to the Vanderbilt game? What happened to the Virginia Tech game? What happened against Syracuse? I can go on and on. They were 7-6. Oh, but they play in a harder division, and their opponents are so much better than the Big 12. It's just hilarious how much goalpost moving some of these fans do. I respect a lot of our opponents' fans, but there's definitely those people out there that have no clue what they're talking about. And when somebody brings up one of those 2 games as the reason why Georgia Tech is going to blow out CU, which, trust me, I have probably 20 to 30 bookmarks of people doing exactly that, this is what you get. This is what you get. I want to see perfection. This might be a low-scoring game. TK, I could see that happen, if I'm being honest. If Georgia Tech wants to play their game plan, this game should be a low-scoring game. If they open it up to a track meet with Colorado, it's over. We win. Georgia Tech D-line has trouble setting the edge. They have their issues. Surprisingly, Georgia Tech's issues are probably going to be in the trenches, which we have not been able to say the last several years for Colorado. Welcome in, OFB. Appreciate you. Oh, what's up, Russ and chat? I believe the force is CP and Buffs this season. Say it, Russ. The force is in Boulder. Bryce on DNVR. He did. He had great takes, but he also is on 3 and he covers a multitude of teams. He's not just a fan of Georgia Tech. Like that's the thing. K-Salt's going to threaten their line, and they don't have good pass rush anyway. I got K-Salt with 80 rushing yards just stealing. Syracuse had a good blueprint against them last year, and I guarantee you that the team is watching Syracuse's stuff, and they have talked. I guarantee you the Coach Prime and guys have talked to Coach Fran because they are good friends. So absolutely smart stuff right there. They scored a good bit in the first half. Syracuse ran the ball more in the second half. Georgia Tech hanging on that Georgia game like it's a master's degree when it's a participation award. I got RJ for 1 pass interference call too if he plays. We'll see. He does like to grab. The nice thing with that TK, though, is make the refs call it. Make the refs call it. A good quarterback, you'll see, will get away with that a lot of the time. I'll call it right now. It's one of the reasons that Sauce Gardner is so good at what he does. You can't. That football would not work if they just called a hold on every single play. Because let's be honest, is there a hold on every single play? Yes. How good are you at getting away with it a majority of the time? And is your team okay with giving that up every now and then? That's the question. And also the moments of the game. Defense don't get lost with their pre-snap motion. They'll be good. Yep. And I've been watching Georgia Tech. Trust me, they run motion like crazy. Talk about 3 guys motioning at the same time. Okay. And I'm sure that Rob Livingston and them have been watching it like crazy and figuring that out. I hope to God, because that was our bane last year. That could be an X factor in this game and help Georgia Tech get the victory. Couldn't stop the quarterback run last year. Everyone crashed the gaps instead of waiting. Will be good. Hoping Preston is on Rivers. We contain him. We win the trenches. We are up guaranteed. I'd be upset if we came out running the pitch option with Salter and Taylor a lot in the first half. Force them to defend those 2 on the outside early. Completely forgot about Coach Prime probably reaching out to Coach Fran. Yep. Keaton Wade will dominate. If he gets out there for pass rush situations, Keaton Wade's going to have a lot to that. We have to test their secondary. It's young. Absolutely. Okay, before we get into the Taco Bell hotline, listen to D Nice here. Hit that like button for me, and we are going to open this baby up. It's time. It's time to open up the Taco Bell hotline, baby. Let's get those Taco Bell takes in. Let's hear what you guys have to say. Let's figure it out. Okay? Let's figure it out. Okay. The Taco Bell hotline is officially open. Feel free to call in. I want to hear your guys' takes on the CU Georgia Tech game. Who are you most interested in this game? Whether that's from CU making a difference, or is there somebody on Georgia Tech that you believe we should be watching out for that could be the difference maker? I want your takes now on the Taco Bell hotline. So please, please, please feel free to jump in and do that. We've got our first call already coming in. Let me know if you guys can't hear the hotline when it happens again. First time. Let's see how it goes. Thank you for calling Buffs News Weekly Live. You're talking to Russ. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking to, and where are you calling from? Hold on 1 second. If you are there, hold on 1 second. We are not getting audio. Give me just 1 moment. I do apologize. Yeah, I can't hear him either. So hold on. Hold on. Are you still there? Okay. Hold on 1 sec. I'm going to do something really quickly. Oh, there it is. That was the problem. Okay, Keith, I can hear you. Can everybody in the chat hear Keith? Let me know. Give me 1 second, Keith. Just because you're the first caller of the day, I want to make sure they can hear you. Did everybody hear Keith when he just spoke? Go ahead, Keith. I will talk to you, and we'll see if I can get the audio going while you talk.
Okay. No, I was just, look, man, this game, I really believe Kate Salter will put on a show. Think of my prediction. Kate Salter would have 5 touchdowns. He'll be involved in 5 touchdowns.
So, okay. So, K-Salt's going to be the difference for you in the game, Keith. Mm-hmm.
It's been said and it will be done.
I love it. I love it.
Game, the final score, it will be a bar. Now, there's going to be a blowout now. It's going to be a close one. I got 38-35.
38-35. Okay. 38-35 for Colorado over Georgia Tech, with Caden Salter being the looks like you could hear him now. I can hear. Okay. Yeah, so I think that's a great score, Keith. I think that's absolutely perfect. And I hope that Caden Salter does. I really want him to succeed. I think it's his time to shine. There's a reason he came to Colorado, leaving Liberty. So I do appreciate that take. Anything else you got to say to the chat and everybody else?
Yeah, all I gotta say is this: is that great show, man. I look forward to your show every time. Your show is in my top 3 as far as podcasts, as far as Colorado Bucks football talk. I love your show, man. You and my man David, y'all good together. Y'all need to have more podcasts together because you guys are a good combination. You're a good team. But anyway, great show. Hey, go Buffs.
Hey, thanks, Keith. Appreciate you so much. We will talk to you again another week. Appreciate you, Keith. Thanks.
All right.
Awesome. Keith coming in. Apologies for the technical difficulties. It's so weird how this works. It resets the audio all the time. We did eventually get to hear him. Keith with the prediction that Colorado will be victorious, and he has Caden Salter going for 5 touchdowns total, 3 rushing, 2 passing, and 400 yards passing overall. So an absolute dominant day by Caden Salter. I think that would be the kind of day that people would expect from Haynes King. I think if Caden Salter does that, he would be right there on top of the world and really get into the national conversation, because I think a lot of people are saying that Haynes King is the absolute best quarterback in this matchup. Caden Salter can't hold a candle to him, and that's what he had to say. So feel free, next up, call on the Taco Bell hotline. Again, best fan take of the week is going to get a prize sent out to them. So make sure you guys call in. Don't be nervous. Don't be scared. I want to hear from everybody. I want to hear from somebody who's a Georgia Tech fan if they happen to be listening to this. Although I don't know of any that do that on a regular basis. We shall see. I see some other predictions in the chat. TK has 2017 CU, so low scoring. I've seen a few people talk about the low scoring potential. D Nice has an absolute blowout. I would consider a blowout because it's by 14 points there. More than 14 points, right? Yeah, more than 14 points. 38-14 CU. That would be a very interesting score, and I think that would wake up a lot of the national media if Colorado was able to do something like that. Mike coming in with the opposite, 31-14 final. Georgia has this one. Love you, Mike, as always, coming in with the takes. That's always a fun time to hear from Nebraska Mike. Appreciate you, Mike. As far as Mike watching too much, you guys are gonna make some more call outs about that. Oh, you guys are gonna get me in trouble. Oh, so again, like I talked about, as far as the matchup and challenges, the question is going to be on everybody's mind. And I know that the quarterback matchup is one that's really weird, that I hate when you go head to head with quarterbacks. They don't play each other. They're not on the field at the same time. I dealt with it a ton when the Broncos had Peyton Manning, and it was always Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady. Who's going to win? Except it's Tom Brady versus the Broncos defense, and it's Peyton Manning versus the New England defense. However, the biggest thing that's being talked about out there nationally is Caden Salter versus Haynes King. King, of course, somebody who is on the national spotlight, who is being talked about as a potential Heisman candidate if he can live up to his potential. Whereas K-Salt, even though he is coming off of 2 of the arguably best seasons in Liberty history, last year obviously a little bit of a down year, still a good year overall statistics-wise. I hate the fact that it looked like that. If you really look at K-Salt's year at Liberty, a lot of that had to do with he lost a lot of talent on that team last year. And so he had to kind of do it all by himself. His completion percentage was down, although his receivers dropped a ton of balls if you look at those stats. Add those in and his completion percentage jumps up quite a bit. So I don't think it is this sub 50% completion percentage that people like to quote. I think it's much better than that. I think it will be just fine this year with the playmakers he has at Colorado. So that is something to pay attention to. Who are the starting defensive tackles? We haven't got an official depth chart. Who I think is going to be the defensive tackles for Colorado is going to be, for me, I believe I'd have to go back and double check TK of who I had as the starting defensive tackles, because we just don't have the starting defensive tackles just yet. Let me go look at my projections here. Give me 2 seconds while I pull that up, since you caught me out of left field. You caught me out of left field with that. Goodness me. I think I had Quincy Wiggins and I think McNeil. I had Wiggins and McNeil, I believe, as your interior linemen who were starting. Correct me if I'm wrong, people, until I can find that. I think that's who I had on the middle. But you guys let me know if I misquoted that. I believe that's who I had there. Russ, do you see the run setting up the pass or the pass setting up the run? Well, for me, I have McNeil getting bullied. Okay. Run setting up the pass setting up the run. Run setting up the pass. Run setting up the pass, 100%. This team needs to set the tone running the ball and not just passing the ball. That will set the tone for everything. And then once you get some big passes in there as a result, it just becomes then flip-flopped. Now the run will open up, back to the pass, and so forth. Good combination. But what's even better about this year's team is going to be the ability to use the quarterback run, the option plays, the pitch plays, all of those options are going to open up so many more things for this team than even under Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders is a pocket quarterback, no matter what anybody wanted to say last year. He is not a dual threat quarterback. Can he run if he needs to? Absolutely, he did at times. But that is not his main functionality. Caden Salter is a true dual threat quarterback. So that is going to help us open the passing game. Those play actions, especially on those option keepers, are going to open up that a lot. So early on, if we can get K-Salt going, if we can get the run game going, it's going to open up the pass. You want to return punts? I've seen Trackhawk taking reps in practice. Not sure if that is what we want. Major, I'm fine with it. Okay, as long as they hold on to the ball, they can make a couple plays, running back the kick returns, then great. If not, no big deal. Just hold on to the ball. I'm fine with it if I'm being completely honest. TK, I'm taking a Simeon Price touchdown. I could see that. I absolutely could see that at some point this game. I'm going to call right now. We're going to call it early. This will be my Monday Taco Bell take of the day. And that is, I'm calling a Trackhawk 20-plus yard touchdown. Bam. Bam, guys. Trackhawk 20-yard touchdown incoming for Friday's game. Difference maker for me, Russ, is if Pat uses all the weapons in his arsenal, that includes tight ends. Yes. Yes. Creativity is going to be key. Can we get creative with the play calling? Can we use all of the weapons? Can we get the tight ends involved? Can we get 2 running back sets often? Especially if we're going to get into passing situations where we could potentially use those guys to help block if we need to. What can we do to really utilize all personnel? It's going to be massive for Friday's game. D-Nice, question for you in the chat. What do you see as the first offensive play call? I'm going to call it right now. We're just going halfback dive. We're going to go halfback dive to Micah, gain of 3 yards. That's how the game's going to start. Boom. Love it. CSWS, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Love you for watching my content and for supporting this. I appreciate it. Yeah, that was an easy prediction. I know. Track off for 20. Seton will take care of the quarterbacks and better decision-making be made. Not as many sacks. Exactly. See, Mike, you also get that too. You've been around long enough. You've been around the fandom. You've been a part of our shows. You've been a part of watching the Buffs. You understand what is happening, okay? And if we're being honest, Mike, I can admit it too. The offensive line doesn't have much to live up to, right? They've been so bad the last 2 years that an improvement wouldn't even be that great. But I do see a big step up this year compared to last year. Size of the offensive line, experience of the offensive line, the skill that we added compared to last year's, going with Khalil Benson and Mayers compared to Xavier Hill and Zy Chrysler. Both of those guys are miles above what we had. And then this is Jordan Seaton's second year. He's going to take a massive step up as well. So yes, the offensive line will be able to take care of the quarterbacks better. The decision-making from back there will be better. Not to mention the fact that Caden Salter can run with the ball if needed and is fast enough to really run out there. So I would agree with that take, Mike. I hope that plays into your prediction of the game because you have Georgia Tech running away with it. If the quarterback's taken care of, you got to admit this game's going to be a lot closer than what you're thinking. Let's go, Russ. Congrats to the move. Love all the content. Enjoy your night. Thank you so much, Hawaii Chris. I appreciate you for watching. Again, the Taco Bell hotline is open now, waiting for our next phone call. 970-805-0463. The Taco Bell fan take of the week will get your info, and we will ship you out a Taco Bell branded CU t-shirt with the players who were featured on the cup. I was told the players will be on the shirt. It's not just a Taco Bell shirt that says CU. So you might want it. They're sending me one so that I can wear it for you guys here on the show. You can see what it looks like. But make sure you guys call in to give your takes on the game. Major has first play call, twin back counter. I love it. That's another easy one and a good one, I think. Just need some backfield motion on that first play. Love to see that as well. If the receivers are on, we have a game. Exactly. Mike gets it. I love it, Mike. You are smart. You really are. Even if you are a Nebraska fan. One of the few that I will respectfully say that to. Gerald, I'd run the pitch option play as the first play, force the defense to defend Salter and Taylor on the outside on that first play. Set up a chance for a big play to start the season. We will have less than 20 sacks this year. D-Nice, that was my prediction. That was my big Taco Bell prediction last week with on Buff Blitz. Less than 20 sacks this year, which would be half of what we allowed last year. Half. Absolutely love it. I want to set the run up, but to pass, the wide receiver room is the offensive strongest suit from my viewing pleasures. OFB, I get that too. And on top of that, we do have to take into account the Georgia Tech secondary being much newer. That's probably the biggest place on Georgia Tech's entire team that we could potentially take advantage of. So the question becomes, would we be passing the ball too much if it's working? Or are we setting up the run later on in the game? Some big things to take care of. The good news is, guess what? I'm not the coach. I don't have to make those decisions. Neither of us are the coaches. We'll leave that to Pat Shermer. We'll leave that to Robert Livingston on how they're going to play this game. I will be very interested to see how all of that happens. Okay? Absolutely how all of that happens. Okay, real quick, mid-show break. Let's get the Taco Bell ad read in. And like I said, guys, hey, Taco Bell, thank you so much for supporting this channel. Okay? Thank you so much for your support of Buffs News Weekly. Okay? Make sure that you guys go when you're in Colorado or if you live in Colorado to your local Taco Bell. For $7, you can get yourself your very own Buff Box. What comes in a Buff Box, you say? Cheesy burrito crunch, okay? You get a burrito. You get a Doritos Loco taco, huh? And you get cinnamon stick. I swear, it is one of the best values you can buy right now. In this economy, I don't even think you can cook at home for cheaper than that. So go get yourself a Buff Box so that you can collect one of these wonderful cups at your local Taco Bell. We've got Trylon Miller. We've got Juju Lewis. We've got Jordan Seaton, the franchise. So go to your local Taco Bell, and guess what else? Taco Bell is not just doing the Buff Box. They are also going to be donating $1,000 for each CU Buffs touchdown this season to a CU scholarship fund, supporting the program both off the field and on the field by supporting the players and by supporting the school. Absolutely love Taco Bell for doing that. So hey, as we would always say, go Buffs and live Moss. Thank you, Taco Bell, for supporting us. Bam. The Taco Bell ad reads, baby. The Taco Bell ad reads. Appreciate you, Taco Bell, for the season sponsorship. Okay, moving on. Let's get to some of the predictions and scenarios, talking about statistics, what we think is going to happen. I'm going to give you guys some stats. You tell me over and under. And if you have your own take, again, the hotline is open. Let me know your take on stats. Keith already gave a great take. He was saying that Caden Salter would have 5 total touchdowns in the game. So I want to start there. Where do you think Caden Salter will end up? I'm going to give the total touchdowns Caden Salter's involved in at 3. So are you over and under 3 touchdowns that Caden Salter is going to be a part of, either with his legs or with his arm? 3 touchdowns, over and under. Let me know in the chat. Okay? Let me know in the chat what you guys think. Eric asking who's got as the sack leader. I've got Arden Walker having a breakout year, getting drafted in the NFL this offseason and leading the team in sacks, a team that led the Big 12 in sacks. They're going to come back just as strong. King Season, look forward to joining in. Go Jackets. King Season is the person I'll be talking to later tonight to get his take on Georgia Tech football. So be on the lookout for that interview and chat on Wednesday night during the Buff Blitz. Appreciate you, King, for dropping by for the live show. That's right, Eric. Colorado Taco Bell's only, and the Front Range only. So Castle Rock to Fort Collins, Taco Bell's is where you'll most likely get it. I don't believe there are any that are out of that, but just in case, always check. You can check in the Taco Bell app. I already did. I checked at a number of Taco Bells near me. You can get the Buff Box at a number of them. So there's that. Would you want CU to run? No. The answer is no. The answer is no. 1 quarterback and 1 quarterback alone. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Okay. Alex Garcia, our wide receiver room is too much for Georgia Tech's DBs. And that's a big matchup that I'm going to be looking at. Okay. Big matchup. They've got a lot to live up to when it comes to the DBs at Georgia Tech, but our wide receivers need to show that the hype surrounding them is real. We Buffs fans talk about us having one of the best, deepest wide receiver rooms in the country. Can they back it up? Is it officially Omarion Miller season? Okay, so I've got the take over and under Caden Salter touchdowns at 3. The next thing I want to say is over and under Omarion Miller 100 yards. What do you guys think? Is Omarion Miller going to be the leading receiver for Colorado, and does he get over 100 yards as the starter? D-Nice, I love this question. First wide receiver to score will be, I have got Omarion Miller. I've got Omarion Miller as the first to score a touchdown. Either that or Draylon. Draylon might be the other one. So that's one I'm looking at. I see McPherson surprising all of us, coming off the edge. Stay on notice, peeps. See, I've got London Merritt. I've got London Merritt making a surprise, not appearance, but impact this season, let alone this game. Just need everyone to stay healthy. It's going to be a battle. I love it, Mike. We want good football, okay? We don't want what happened to the Kansas State-Iowa State game, okay? Dylan Edwards getting hurt right at the beginning of the game. Not a fun time when it comes to watching football. I was looking forward to seeing what he would do. You lose that top running back threat for Kansas State, with the game being a muddy, rainy mess. Does not bode well for the passing game either. D Nice says under on Omarion Miller, over on Salt. Interesting. So you think Omarion's getting less than 100. Salt is getting over on the 3 touchdowns. Very interesting, D Nice. I would call that quite a take. If anybody's got something else to say on D Nice, hey, the hotline is open. Give us a call. First wide receiver to score will be Joseph. I see too many red zone touchdowns using Joseph at practice. The other guy who gets a lot of red zone looks is Sincere Brown. They like to throw the ball up to him. He's been making a lot of plays in the end zone as well. So that would be one to pay attention to. London Merritt is the truth. Him and McPherson are some dogs from this last recruiting class. They're going to be probably next to Juju Lewis. Mind you, I'm not going to go crazy. 2 of the most impactful. They are going to have a long-term effect when it comes to CEU. Guys, while you're here, while we're figuring out these takes, I want to get running backs. So I'm not just going to pick one, but will we get over or under 100 yards rushing Friday night from the Colorado running back room? You let me know, guys. You let me know what is going to happen with the over and under on the running back yardage. Okay, the running back yardage. OFB has Omarion Miller or Sincere Brown. It's a pretty easy call there, I think. Over and under running backs, 100 yards. Drop your predictions now in the chat. Feel free to also drop who you think is going to lead the way when it comes to rushing for the running backs. Let me know. I know there's going to be a lot of Track Hawk love in the chat based on what we've seen all off season. So again, the Taco Bell hotline is open, 970-805-0463. We've got it working and going. Feel free to call in now with your takes about the Georgia Tech game. Under, we will still run the ball when necessary. And mind you, I said running backs. So Caden Salter could get over 100 yards himself or add to the total to get over to 100 yards. I mean, just running backs. Do they get over 100 yards? That is what we're looking at. Echo says we have more. More than 100 yards, says Echo. More than 100 yards on that. Very interesting. Major saying under 100 yards. I do believe our running backs will be used more for check downs. Okay. So some running and receiving yards, but maybe not rushing yards, whereas Echo has us on the over. I appreciate that, Echo, and that take. Let me know what you guys think as far as the statistical amounts. Next up for the over and under, we are going to go, and by the way, for running over 100 yards, I'm going to go over. Okay? For Caden Salter touchdowns, I'm going to go over. For Omarion Miller, I'm going to go under. I'm going to say the ball's going to get spread out. He's going to be just under 100 yards. I can see like 90 yards and a touchdown for Omarion Miller in this game if we are to be successful. The O-line is better pass blockers, so I have to say under. Interesting. TMFB, as long as the Buffs win, the Miller's going to be impactful. Arden going to dominate. I hope Byard back from his injury. TMFB, you and I together. Okay? You and I together on that take. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, sacks. Okay, over and under on total team sacks. I'm going to set it at 4. 4 sacks for CU, over and under. What is your take when it comes to how many sacks this defense is going to get in totality for Friday's game? I would love to hear it. OFB says the Omarion Miller wide receiver will be over 100 yards. Appreciate that, OFB. So, sacks, as I said, over and under 4. Under, says Major. Under, Georgia Tech will run. So not a lot of passing opportunities. Now the question is, though, Major, if the offense for CU clicks and gets enough points, Georgia Tech will have to pass the ball, which then opens up the chance for easier sacks because you know the pass is coming. Something to think about, but I get it. D-Nice under will have more tackles for loss than sacks. See, D-Nice is smart. Okay, because when it comes to college football, if you're a quarterback that's running an option, it's not considered a sack. it would be considered a tackle for a loss. So that might be something very interesting. Okay. Over on the running, says Ron Alexander. Alex says over. Barnes and Arden Walker will set that tone. I love it. Echo saying over. Ron saying over. Lots of people saying over on the sacks. Interesting. I love it. I'm going to also say over on the 4 sacks because this team was so dominant last year. And we bring back some very impactful people. Keaton Wade, Arden Walker, both guys that should get very high number of sacks this year, alongside those freshmen, alongside the interior guys, alongside some of the others that'll be rotating in. Sammy sacks as well. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. You guys are all saying over. OFB under. King is a runner, so he'll be hard to get a sack off of. Totally get that. And this is another good point, Echo. Those are the players to look out for when it comes to that. Last over and under for this part of the segment. Over and under turnovers, 2. I'm setting the over and under on turnovers at 2. Do you believe that CU will get more or less turnovers in this game? I will give you my take on it here in just a little bit, but I want to know from you guys, over and under turnovers. Will Colorado get more than 2 turnovers in the game, or will it be less? It will be a good game, but I think Georgia Tech might take the win. Louis Henton, I don't fault you for that. At least you're not coming in here and saying it's a blowout and how easy it's going to be for Georgia Tech. I like the might take a win. I absolutely believe that Georgia Tech can come in here and win. There's a reason that they're favorited by 3.5 points. I believe this game is going to be close. It's going to come down to the end. And the question is, and truly, this is what I think is going to come down. Is the offense for real? Are we a more balanced and competent offense when it comes to what we do with Caden Salter at the helm and this new offensive line? If that's the case, then yes, I believe Colorado can get the victory. But there is a scenario where that offense does not click like they need to, does not do what they need to, and in which case I could absolutely see Georgia Tech coming away victorious. But I do think that Caden Salter is going to have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder coming in this game. I think he has been slept on by way too many people during his time at Liberty. Now coming to Colorado and taking on this opportunity, I think he's going to have something to say. And looking at this week and everybody talking nothing but Haynes King, minus a few really smart analysts out there that did bring up Caden Salter, I think he's going to have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder to come out and show off what he is capable of doing. Okay, Echo has 2 or less. D-Nice over on the 2 fumbles a pick. Majority of the defensive staff being back 2 years in a row should help. If Salter does play well, I believe Staub can play before Juju. Oh, it does not play well. So you think Staub's going to start before Juju? I don't think that's going to happen. Over. Georgia Tech has a lot of young players and mistakes will be made at times. Salt doesn't really need a good O-line. All he needs is from them to be decent. And Major, that's what I think they'll at least get minimum. That's why I'm so high on Colorado this year compared to a lot of people out there. Quarterback and special teams is TMFB. I get that. Okay, appreciate those takes on the over and under. Okay, this is the part of the show that we've all been waiting for. We got some of your opinions up at the top of the show, but I really want to dive into our final predictions for Georgia Tech, Colorado. This is where you really want to call into that Taco Bell hotline and be the take of the week. Let me know your prediction for Colorado, what the score will be, who will win, and why do you think that team will win? All options are open. You can call in. Let me know that Georgia Tech is going to be victorious or Colorado. But I want to hear your reasoning why. I want to hear your reasoning why. I'm hoping to get a Georgia Tech fan to call in and let us know what their final take will be for this game. I will give you guys my prediction as we head out of the episode today, but I want to hear truthfully from you guys. Why do you believe Georgia Tech will win, or why do you believe Colorado will be victorious? What is your prediction score and why? That's what I want to hear right now. by far most balanced team that Coach Prime has had. Coaches, we're going to be in your chest if the squad underperforms. I think they're going to be held to a different standard, okay? I truly do believe that they are going to be held to a different standard this year, and it's something that's really going to be paid attention to. Absolutely paid attention to, okay? So mind you. So let's continue on. Let's see what we got. So Alex Garcia, 17-10, CU wins. Salter will throw for over 300, says Echo. Now that's taking that chip and throwing it right out the window for K-Salt if that's what happens. Okay? Echo's got 28-14 Colorado. That's 2 victories for Colorado. 28-14, 17-10. Okay? 31-14. We change it up. Are you changing up, Echo? You're adding more points to Colorado's victory. Who else has got a prediction for Colorado versus Georgia Tech? Let me know in the chat or give us a call on the Taco Bell hotline now if you guys are listening. Hey, and while we get towards the end of the show, of course, make sure to hit that good old like button and subscribe. Guys, you don't understand how impactful that is to the channel. Okay, it is absolutely huge and massive. Friday's show, one of our most watched in a long time, and a lot of that happened because of you guys liking it. We've got a call on the hotline. Let's hear what they have to say. Thank you for calling Buffs News Weekly. You're talking to Russ. Who do I have the pleasure of talking to, and where are you calling from?
Hey, Russ, we trust.
What's up? Who's this?
What's going on, man? This is D Nice from Memphis, Tennessee.
D Nice, how's it going? As always, I want to hear your take on the game against Georgia Tech. Give me your best take for this week's matchup.
It's going to be 38-14. Colorado's going to win. It's going to start out dominant. I think the first 2 drives, we're going to get points. I think it's going to be 10 points total the first 2 drives, and then after that, we're just going to incrementally wear them down. I just can't see them stopping all the weapons that we have on offense.
And what about Georgia Tech's offense? What do you think is going to happen on that side of the ball?
I think Haynes King is going to make a point to try to be this superhero. I think he's going to try to outdo and try to outrun everything. And with that, going to be coming a lot of mistakes. So I see them still probably hitting around 125 to about 150 total rushing yards. But I think the passing yards are going to suffer. I think they're probably going to be around like 130 in the air. And I think it's going to be a couple turnovers. I think they're going to drop a couple of balls. Man, I don't see them in rhythm as they think they're going to be in this first game.
I think that's a great outlook on both sides. The ball makes sense to me. Any last thing, D-Nice, you want to say out there to everybody before we end the call for the week?
I think Salter is going to go off for the year. I got my predictions for his averages at 300 passing and about 75 yards rushing per game. I mean, that's really like, 75 yards passing per quarter and about 18 yards rushing per quarter. So he should be able to hit those numbers pretty easily. So I think he's going to be dominant. I think we're gonna win the Big 12. I think he's going to be Big 12 Player of the Year. I think we're going to get in that CFP. I think he's going to make himself a day 2 draft pick. And it's going to be flip season.
If all of that happens, you absolutely better believe it will be flip season come November, December. D-Nice, appreciate it as always. Thank you for being a member of the channel and appreciate the phone call. As always, we'll talk to you again upcoming here one of these weeks.
Salute, Russ. Take care, man.
Yeah, you take care, you too. Talk to you later. D-Nice with the take. Haven't seen you come out victorious. Caden Salter coming out party, and he is going to have a season to behold for Colorado. Very, very important and interesting and smart take, I do believe. It'll be interesting to see. I think game 1, we're going to find out very quickly if Caden Salter has it or not. Does he have the it factor that we believe he will have, that's going to be something we're going to have to find out right away. So thank you so much, D Nice, for calling in. Domestically is 28-17. CU's 70 to 80% as advertised. Caden Salter will be in Heisman talks by game 3. I love it. I love it. I think he can absolutely. The beginning of the season lines up. You've got the big time game against Georgia Tech where you're going to have all eyes on you. And then you've got the potential games where you can stat pad. You can pad those stats against teams like your Wyoming, Delaware, Houston. I think that by the time we get to the meat of the schedule, Caden Salter should be handedly in the Heisman talks if he plays the way that we believe he can play. That's the key, guys. That's the key. Okay? If we win, Salter will be a celebrity after this game. Salter will be a household name. On3 will be talking about him. ESPN will be talking about him. Everybody in the college football landscape will be talking about Caden Salter if we win. Okay? We are going to win off the back of Caden Salter one way or another. Speaking of which, guys, just so you know, I will have a Caden Salter video dropping at some point this week. I was going to wait until it officially became official that he is going to be the starter. We all know he's going to be the starter. They're probably not going to announce an official depth chart, I don't think, but it's going to be something to look out for when it comes to this team and this program. Okay? Will K. Salter continue to be a ball dribbler? What do you mean by that, OFB? I would love to know what you mean by ball dribbler. Okay? Let me know. Maybe I'm just out of it. Maybe I don't have the slang or the terms known, but I'm very interested to hear what you mean by that specific thing. Okay? Unruly, listen. Once we stop Haynes, we will win. I believe our D-line is going to be hungry. I love the take, Unruly. I would agree with that. That D-line has a lot to live up to. And hey, when you're playing for Warren Sapp, you want to impress Warren Sapp and make a name for yourself. And that is a great way to do it, is against Haynes King and all of the words that talk about it. Okay? So ball fumbler is what you mean. So K-Salt's fumble problems. How many fumbles did K-Salt have at Liberty? Let me go look at that. Caden Salter rushing statistics for Liberty. Let's see what he's got the last couple of years. Give me fumbles. So last year, 0 fumbles. 2023, when he rushed for over 1,000 yards, 4 fumbles. The year before that, 300 yards, 0. So I would assume, yes, you're going to fumble the ball sometimes when you run the ball enough to run for 1,000 yards. I mean, that's a lot of rushing attempts to have that happen. Just saying. 163 yards per game, by the way, in rushing. Something to think about. I believe this Colorado team can finally make a push for the Natty. Alex, I think we'll be in conversation towards the end of the season. If we can get to that Big 12 championship game, anything is possible. Anything is possible. Yep, sir, Robert, that's right. Caden Salter will be a celebrity if we are victorious in this game. I would agree with that. It's an easy take. Not saying, Robert, that it's like, but I'm saying, like, yeah, I agree 100%. We win this game, Colorado and K-Salt will be back in the national spotlight and the national media. Okay, last few minutes here of the day. If you want to get one more phone call in, feel free. The hotline is still open for you guys. We're still looking for that Taco Bell take of the day, although D-Nice is right now, for me, in the lead with his take about the game. Very thorough, as always, D-Nice. I appreciate that. So if we don't get any more phone calls, you very well could be the Taco Bell hot take of the day. Joe Kidd in the house, 3-headed monster rushing attack. Salter, Taylor, Welsh going for 150 combined rushing yards. I would love it. Keith, better question. How many turnovers Haynes King had in the past 3 years at Georgia Tech? Interestingly enough, Keith, let's pull that up, huh? Haynes King turnovers career. Let's find out, shall we? Okay, Haynes King. So in 2021 for Texas A&M, 6 interceptions. In 2022, 9 interceptions. In 2023 with Georgia Tech, 7 interceptions. In 2024 with Georgia Tech, 6 interceptions. Career totals, 28 interceptions, 47 games. Keith, I think you're onto something here. I mean, not super high, but pretty consistent that he does throw a certain amount of interceptions per year. As far as fumbles go, let's see what that looks like, shall we? Haynes King, rushing. Can I get his rushing stats? Boo, boo, boo. Come on, ESPN. Come on, ESPN. Sports reference, much better. Okay, let's see. We want to toggle to rushing and receiving. And the number of fumbles that he had. Where is it? Where is it? I can't find his rushing stats like I did with Caden Salter. It was a lot easier. Why is that? Come on. Why is it not easy to find these stuff? Haynes King. Fumbles. Let's throw that in there. Oh, rushing stats. There we go. Finally found it. Way too difficult to do this. Okay, rushing 0, 0, 0, 1 2 years ago and 2 last year. He does not fumble the ball very often. So it is about getting him passing. King had 16 picks in 2023 and 2 picks in 2024. Okay, so something was off there. King, I'll believe you, okay? I love that he dropped it that much. I do remember actually it being a much higher number in 2023. I was a little surprised. Let's see if I can find the right one. I don't know why that popped up. You're right, 2 interceptions last year. You are correct. 2 interceptions last year. 16 and 23. That's a bad year. Hopefully he can continue the 2. 6 before that, 3 before that, and 1 before that. So passer rating has been 206 in 2020, 136, 116, 142 in 2023, even with the 16 interceptions. Interesting. 154. I mean, it's probably because of the rushing attempts. Appreciate you correcting me there, King. Appreciate you correcting me on that. Which guys CP will take those walks with? I'll be interested to see. Maybe K Salt. Maybe K Salt's the one that talked to Coach Prime. Maybe Juju was the one to talk to Coach Prime. We'll find out pretty quick. Maybe Jordan Seaton's the one because of his relationship with him. In 2023, he played a lot of hero ball, forced passes versus teams like Clemson. He was better in 24. Obviously, I mean, the stats look great in 24, and there's a reason that people are talking about him. That's the big thing. I do believe there is a big reason he's being talked about. I believe he's going to have a big year for Georgia Tech. And the key to winning this game is what we can do with him. That's the key, 100%. King looked for his tight ends, most of his passes on 3rd down. That would be smart of him to do. The question is, can we stop the tight ends? Will the safeties be covering the tight ends or will the linebackers? Interesting. He's saying Jordan Seaton will walk with Coach Prime. I'd love to see it. I would love to see it. Okay, King, I saw your message, by the way, real quick. We're talking tonight. Going to pre-record it, and then everybody in the chat will get to see it on Buffs Blitz Wednesday night. It won't be a live chat between us. It will be a pre-recorded that I will play on Wednesday because of your availability. So don't worry. We're talking tonight here, not long after I get off the air here. We will connect online and have a chat about your Georgia Tech takes. So thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate that. Okay, guys, we are going to call it a night. I appreciate you so much. Almost 200 people right now in the chat. Hit that like, please, before you drop off, before you end watching, before you stop watching. Hit the like button for me, por favor. Those likes are a huge part of whether or not this video takes off. That's just how the algorithm on YouTube works. So I appreciate you guys so much. Joking, what's the schedule? Appreciate you asking. I'll throw that out there right now. Mondays, 4:30, call-in show. Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. Mountain, Buff Blitz with David Talks Buffs. Friday, 4:30, depending on what's going on. We will talk about the pregame for each football game that weekend. So this Friday, we'll be talking before the CU Georgia Tech game. post-game show with David Talks Buffs each and every post-game. So be on the lookout for that. Within 30 minutes to an hour after the game has ended, you guys will be able to catch me live. We'll be also live at random times, depending on what news is out there, what's going on. I will have videos that will drop all throughout the week as well. And then we also might have our weekend video slash live that I've done in the past during the seasons where we just talk about the Buffs. But Mondays, Wednesday nights, Friday afternoon evenings, sometimes on the weekend, that's what the schedule will look like. I appreciate you asking, Joe Kidd. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Buffs News Weekly Radio. Until next time, I'm your host, Russ. Live Moss, Sco Buffs. Thank you, Taco Bell. Go get your Buffs box. We'll see you next time. Sco Buffs.